Today I have here a guest. His name is Caroline Wilson, and Caroline have a big, fantastic background in the bikepacking. And today I'm inviting to she tell us, Caroline. First of all, welcome
Thanks.
to the channel, Bike Travel channel.
It's quite a outset you've got here.
Yeah. It's a very
Bike
nice
packing
setup.
lodge.
Very nice setup. And myself and the people in home want to know a little about your background in bikepacking. When you started, how many years you started?
Oh, um, well, my love of bikes actually started from my stepfather. He was a keen cycling enthusiast, although never cycled competitively. He was from outside High Wycombe. He would tell me tales of going around High Wycombe and later on Switzerland, and just generally cycling around. He actually grabbed a frame of a bike off a scrap heap, and I watched him step by step build this bike up, which I had for numerous years, and again bombed around on that bike. But I think my very first bike packing trip was one in France, way before all the velos were built. I went end of September, Calvados season,
Wow.
superb season to go for. I had no money, and I literally lived off apples that were growing, cheese and bread for the local
Yeah, I
bakery in the
imagine.
morning. It's superb. That's all you need in life, right? It's French bread and cheese, and the odd pastry, water and Calvados, which at the time everybody was giving you samples to try.
Yeah, I
So,
believe it.
and there was no bike packing gear as such. I kind of put all my stuff into a black bag, a tent wise and sleeping bag, and made up my own gear. We did have panniers then, but it was very
Yeah, I
rudimentary.
remember in the 20, 25 years ago, no have any bikepacking gear. And I remember the people, inclusive me, tried to making panniers by jeans.
Yep.
It's incredible. And people making what have in home, going to the that places where the mother keep the fabric and catch the fabric and starting to sewing.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's unbelievable. Today the new generation not imagine how really this is started.
Mm.
And I know you cycling in the some different countries around the world on the past. And for you, what which is the best place you go cycling and you enjoying a lot the bikepacking?
Oh, that's a tough one, because I think every single place I've been has its qualities, pros and cons, as it were. I would. There are three that spring to mind. One is Canada. Canada is absolutely superb. Cycled around the Rocky Mountains, uh, and it's so varied. Canada, so varied, but there's for scenery, absolutely superb. Technically, you have all sorts of terrain there, and you just meet so many different people going to so many different places. Superb. The other one is France. France is a very easy. If you want to clear your head of space, you can just go across the velos in France, meet loads of people if you're at that frame of mind. Um, Not worry too much about the traffic. Obviously, there are roads to part of the velos, but generally you can cycle off the roads and just clear your head of nothing. And then I think for the more exotic place, should we say, I think Oman definitely springs to
Mm.
mind. The Omanis are lovely. You get to camp. I wouldn't camp in the wadis, but next to the wadis, you see a very varied scenic route. Yeah, yeah, but everywhere, everywhere
Incredible.
sticks in my mind.
Yeah, last year, 2022, I have the pleasure you on my company and we making a fantastic trip in France, 3,000 kilometers, 1 month cycling, bikepacking. And I remember in some parts of France have like a black spot or a white spot, no have anything. And when you're cycling, if it's very hot, like it's the case, about 40 degrees, if the mind don't fail me, and we carry almost everything or everything But in many situations, the people, what I think this new generation make is not any fault, but maybe no have the knowledge we have, or background from the past. But going like France, yeah, we're on the first world, you have everything too close. No, never give the credits to the others. You need to sort it out yourself. And one piece, one of that piece last year saved our journey and maybe our lives, we don't know, because we are completely the other traded. It's this piece here of kit.
Yeah.
Explain a little about that.
So this is the liter filter system. I love this filter system because it just fits on. I've got a Ortlieb, not that I'm advertising, being paid by Ortlieb, but I've got an Ortlieb multi-system, and basically that takes any universal filter. And if you remember last year, I actually think it was 45, and it was
Yeah,
day after day after
45,
day, it was
correct.
45 degrees. There was a black spot that we hit where there was no water, absolutely no water. There was no shops, no cafes, no restaurants, nothing, not even any houses. And there was a pond, and I actually siphoned off water from this. I don't think we actually drank it, but we carried it around with us
Yeah, in case.
in case we actually got to that stage where we just wouldn't have any. And because it was 45 degrees heat, so bearing in mind that we were getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and actually starting off at half 5, 6 o'clock in the morning because the heat, it was just too much come 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and we'd already gone through our water. And where we thought water supplies were, they'd actually dried up. And that was also a lesson that I learned in Spain when I'm back to my hiking days. You directly see on the maps, particularly in Andalusia, that there should have been water and there wasn't. So one of the things that I have always learned to take, if you're going out for a whole day or just overnight onwards, I always take my filter. It's a
Yeah, I
source of
believe you.
comfort knowing it's there.
I believe, and in Spain also, yeah, very important in Spain, because I remember when I cycling in Spain, I make a crossing Spain sometimes, and yeah, have there very very black spots, no have anything, and if you don't have this, you're not going anywhere. You
Yeah.
need to stop and waiting any god appear on the sky
Yeah.
and give you some water.
And
It's
I think
unbelievable.
people underestimate how isolated these areas are.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not so built up like we are here in the UK, Ireland, that there is literally
Yeah.
nothing.
Ever
Absolutely
is more
nothing.
than 100 kilometers now, have you not see any house
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
That's it. Another things I need to ask you, when, because your background is not only bikepacking, it's also hiking
Mm.
alone in Spain and in other parts of the world. And normally when you're going like that, I calling the fast hiking, what you leave with you? Bivy bag, tent?
Yeah, it depends on what level
Understand?
of comfort. These days it depends on my frame of mind as well. But certainly, if I'm doing through hiking, there's a couple of items that I always take. One of them obviously is the water filter. That's the first and foremost. The other one is the bivy bag. And I particularly like this North Face assault bivy bag. Again, not advertising North Face. They haven't paid me to do anything. But I particularly like that because you can put your hiking bag right at the top of your head. And you've got a mesh there where the mozzies can't get in, or midgies. And what I normally do is I love jam jar lids. Jam jar lids you can put underneath your ultralight chairs, and they don't sink into the ground. But you can also put a walking stick on a jam jar, both sides, and actually hoop it up and not get the built up of condensation over it. So that's one of the things that I have. I don't have to worry about putting up tents, being seen, etc. I just go under a bush, and as you know, in a bush shelter.
Yeah, I remember in Scotland when you make that fantastic trip crossing Scotland, we sleeping every day on the bivy bag and on the beach,
Yeah.
on the mountain, in the back garden of a community association
Yeah.
like that. Anyway, it's we
Uh,
sleeping every in the bus shelter
yes,
is
I think you started grading your bus shelters one star to
one
five
of my
star.
one of my best sleeping nights I have in my life is on the BV bag, not on the tent or another type of accommodation. Surely.
Yeah. The other thing I usually take is my thermarest ultralight uh, bed rest, and of course my sleeping bag. Now I'm not. I haven't actually got any loyalty to any one sleeping bag. It all depends on the temperature.
And the season, yeah.
Yeah, and the season. I have got a -40 degrees C sleeping bag, but obviously it's too warm for these climates. Although I do put it out when it goes below zero, just to give it an air if I'm not going anywhere that needs that kind of sleeping bag. But it does take up an awful lot of room. But God, I've got a good night's sleep with that.
Now I remember last year in France, you have a item with you, and I have the same item. We go discuss now next. But it's very hot, 40, 45 degrees, inclusive at night. It's impossible the temperature coming down. And what you remember, it's wow, I have here a bag to take a shower. Why not I put here fresh water inside of the bag, inclusive the bag it's here. Why I not put
Yeah, this is a
and
game
put under my
changer.
and make a pillow and make a pillow from this to refresh, because I cannot sleep. It's impossible. It's
Yeah,
impossible to sleep.
I actually I put cold water in from a campsite, and then I thought, you know what, this would be so nice at 45 degrees to put my head down on, and it worked. I was in that heat. I was asleep in what, 20 minutes. Obviously, it warms out within sort of 2 hours, but just for those couple of hours of comfort, it really was a game changer. And this is the Ortleap waterproof reservoir system. It is superb. You can use it, as you can see, there's a shower attachment there. You can put the universal filter on there and drink it straight from the bag. You can put it across your handlebars,
Yeah, and
across
on
your
the
across your shoulders. You can fill it with air and use it. You can put it with warm water in the winter to keep you warm. I love it, and it packs up really, really small. So that's definitely, if I'm going long distance, that's definitely a must as well. But God, that was a game changer. With
I
just
believe
that
it, I believe it.
unexpected 45-degree heat across France last year, and it's a lesson for climate change. These are the way things are going now, and that's another reason why I love bikepacking. It's low impact on the environment. It's
And
it's just
also
yeah.
we have last year very hot. This year not so, but last year very hot in France, 3,000 kilometers. And you have another item you want to share. It's a solar
Yeah.
panel. Because when it's 40, 45 degrees, this is charged like a rocket.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not so good. It does charge up here in the UK, Ireland, and the Northern Hemisphere, but if you're going further south to France, etc., I go for the dual. I'll just open this up a minute. I go for the dual system panels here, and you can plug this into your phone, which your GPS systems, and you can charge it direct, or you can actually charge up your power bank, etc. But this was the bomb. You do have to get the right angle of dangle, either across the handlebars or
Yeah,
around
some
the back.
positions.
But an absolute must. You're not so reliant, because in the summer, especially if you're going across France, everybody's fighting for the electrical power points, and you haven't got that. You've got something charged up by the time you get there. So yeah, that's a must as well.
Now I know some years ago you starting a new project, a personal project, and you are an organizer of a meetup group, of adventure group, and one of your goals is bring new people to cycling, men and women, to not only cycling, bikepacking. Do you think the new generation or new generation in bikepacking, because they have people with some age and never tried, do you think you have a good reception for that people to coming to the first time, or have some fears need to be like it's like a wall in front, and you cannot cross that wall to give that step. And when you're talking and 100 kilo, we go making 100 kilometers, and the people, Jesus, 100 kilometers, what's this? Yeah, but we need to know one thing. When we started, we not started with 100, we started with 10,
Yeah,
15, 25.
yeah, yeah.
What do you think all about that?
I think everybody's nervous about starting any group. It doesn't matter whether it's bikepacking or something else. There's always an apprehension of what is expected of you and what you expect from the group as well. Don't forget, we're seeing if we like you, but you're seeing if you like us and whether it's for you. It has huge advantages of being with the group in that you don't have to initially spend so much money because these projects can be quite pricey if once you start getting into the sport. But it gives you a good opportunity to talk to other people, see what works for them. Many things I have had that have been top of the range, I've had to end up adapting myself, or I've actually made my own stuff. That's just you tune stuff for your own comfort, support, and what feels right for you. And I think a lot of people get slightly worried about whether they're going to be able to keep up with the rest of the group. And we cater for all different skills, different terrains, different distances, different technical difficulties, as it were. We do anything from easy to very experienced. But I think it's important that you contact the organisers and ask them. Say this is the first time I've been bikepacking. I cycle XY distances. Do you think I'd be okay for this one? We do host regular beginner bikepacking trips, and we work our way up to advanced. We go away for multi-days, 2 weeks across Europe, and indeed planning some trips across the world. So I'd say get in contact with the organisers and just see at what level you'd like to start.
You are a female person, and in these days it's difficult. You will see a female person alone in bikepacking or go camping. Along all these years, you feel any constrangement and to be a female girl to cycling alone and camping on campsites minimal.
Uh, Less so these days. These days, I think it's more accepted that females will cycle across, have these journeys on their own, and why not? Yeah, we're equals at the end of the day, and I think we need to throw off the shackles of, I don't personally, I don't think sex should come into it in terms of, lone females. However, I actually think you are vulnerable whether you're male or female. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're at risk, you're at risk. The probably the best advice I could give is to trust your instincts, and if it feels wrong, it feels wrong, and you must follow those instincts. Quite often, instincts are based on environmental factors that you haven't, you're not aware of, but you intuitively know that there's something wrong. But I do think that men are just as much at risk as women. I've been across Europe, and you've encountered wild animals. Been across Canada, you've got bears, etc. My encounters with those have been a lot more than they have with humans, shall we say? And on the whole, I don't perceive there to be a problem. And it is if you're in a big city or if you're in the side of a mountain, you are responsible for your own personal welfare and safety. And but you are similarly at risk.
In these days, we see also many types of bikepacking. That new word now appear on the on our lives. It's people have many concepts about what is bikepacking and do it. Some going in the trip, I don't know, 1 week and deciding to camping in the B&Bs and not leaving so much gear. And other people in the opposite way, no, B&Bs is not for me, I prefer go and camping on a campsite. And then have another people said, no, campsites also, always campsites is not for me, I prefer still camping sometimes, and like one time a week staying in a B&B to charge all my devices, etc. what you think about that? What you doing sometimes?
I prefer camping. I like wild camping and camping at campsites less so, only because it's the noise in the summer you get from other people. But at the same time, if you go into somewhere like France, you're only paying €6 a night to €10 a
I
night.
agree. I
You can
agree.
get a shower. You can leave your tent there and go off into town. Take photos, do whatever you want to do. I think similarly, rest is very important, and some people just cannot sleep outside the realms of a four-post bed. And isn't that the beauty of cycling? It's different strokes for different folks. You can pick and choose how you want to do it, how you want to have your journey, and enjoy it. But for me, definitely, I like to see the stars at night. I like to lie there from my bivy bag and look up. I like to, sometimes I like the solitude, I like my own company, and I see things that sometimes you wish you could share the memories of what you've seen with somebody else, but sometimes it's just nice to have that intrinsic and extrinsic value on the view and being in that place at that time, just getting away from it all.
We cycling before here in Ireland, and everyone knows, if knows a little of Ireland, knowing is raining a lot here, windy a lot, and have sometimes consecutive days of miserable weather. And what you thinking? I don't know any. It's not any magic formula, but what need to be have here to bring people from outside to here in Ireland to cycling?
Yeah, well, you probably could answer that question better than me. You're Portuguese,
Yeah,
so
it's true. It's true.
you must miss the
It's true.
sun.
I think one of the principal factors I see is not a criticism, but it's missing here more greenways, more pathways, more cycling ways, more not in the city, in the country,
Hmm.
outside of the pollution. And another thing I notice is in some parts of Ireland, the drivers don't have any patience with the cyclists. And in another aspect, I see cyclists simply making wrong things on the road. I don't agree with this also. It's
Yeah,
like you said, it's impossible we maintain cyclists and drivers on the same road. Need to be have alternative to take off the cyclists from the road to the
yeah.
greenways.
I think that there's an issue in that the roads, certainly the country roads here and in the UK, they are so narrow. They are not built. Sometimes I think they're not built for cars. They're just so narrow, and you can literally see tufts of grass coming out of them. And I think when you've got a car on the road and you've got a bike on the road, and you are supposed to give them over a meter distance, and sometimes the roads just aren't a meter wide. How on earth are you going to do that? So you kind of see it from the motorist perspective. Similarly, a cyclist does have right of way, and it's very nerve wracking being a cyclist when people are overtaking you on corners, and you as a cyclist can actually hear another car coming, which has happened to me quite a few times over here. And you think, if that car pulls in, I'm the one that's going to get it. I also think that people are unsure about what they're supposed to do when they see a cyclist. There's almost this element of panic. I need to overtake because I need to be X, Y, and Z quick. But what do I do? Do I indicate? Do I pull right over? Do I just go for it and hope nobody notices and that they won't say anything? And don't forget, guys, we've got cameras now. We've got cameras everywhere on those bikes. So it's very. I think we need more infrastructure here. Certainly, Ireland is working on its greenways, and that is really, really good to see. It's very difficult. There are mountainous areas here in Ireland, and obviously there are areas that run over people's land, and we have to work together on that. It's all about spatial planning as well. You need to work together and come up with a solution. Bikes aren't going to go away. They are the future. I Coming up to your point about there are some cyclists that do bad things. Yeah. I've come across quite a few cyclists, not just here but elsewhere. They're all in black. They cannot be seen. They are riding side by side, which is legal, but they're chit, holding a whole queue of cars up. We're all road users, and we have to pay attention, and we have to act accordingly. Yeah, I'm going to get hammered for saying that by some cyclists. Everywhere you go, there are always naysayers. There are always people that will say, I'm wrong, I'm right, but we have to work together on this one, folks.
Before we finish today, I need to ask you which is the item you loved in bikepacking and which is the thing or item you waiting in bikepacking.
What do I love in bikepacking? Of course, I've got my mascot, Bryn. Can't go anywhere without the mascot, the red dragon. What do I love? I would actually say, obviously, bikepacking wouldn't be bikepacking without my bike. It's my bike is everything.
And the thing or the object or the thing around the bikepacking you don't like it so much.
If we're talking about something that is an attachment, probably the rain when it is absolutely lashing down, which we get a lot of here. Punctures.
Yeah,
you can deal with them obviously, but they are a pain in the backside.
It's horrible. I believe it.
Yeah.
All right. Many thanks, Caroline Wilson, to be here with us, and I hope so. You returning again here to the channel, and you in your home. I hope so. You enjoying this interview. This is a very funny interview here on with this fantastic background. And who knows? You are the next to be interviewed by me. The future will dawn.